You're tuning into the X Factor of Safety. I'm your host, Pedro Maciel. Here at the X Factor of Safety, we like to discuss industry topics, both safety and not safety. We dive into the daily lives of safety pros and various industry leaders, digging deep and finding out what their X Factor is. Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. Today, we have an exciting guest, Miss Brittinay Lenhart. You see her, she is the work culture consultant. You see her all on LinkedIn. This is where I found her at. You know, some of her articles are to die for. Some good content, but I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. And thank you again so much for having me on the show. Again, like you said, I am your work culture consultant, and we found each other because we have a mutual interest for cultures, and his happens to be safety, and really that aligns with any type of culture. Everyone should have a safety culture. So there's that.
Yeah, no. And how did you transition? Because I know you were in the military, right?
Yes, I was Air Force for 8 years, and I've been through various amount of cultures, good and bad, which has been a learning experience on all accounts. I was aircraft maintenance before, so we were heavy with, safety culture. That's a really big deal. You do something wrong, a pilot can die. So it's very serious. So I had that experience, and I got into the contracting world and then did this entrepreneur route. So here we are now.
No, that's awesome. I was also in the military. Thank you for your service. I was in the Navy on a submarine, so same thing applied. You had to have a nice tight-knit culture to be able to make the boat go underwater safely and return, to the surface safely. So I get it. Being that you are in the work culture and more so on the leadership side, how did you get into that type of work? Granted, coming from the military background, but how did you actually get into what you do?
So I have always loved leadership. It's like I've always, had leaders in my career that I've looked up to that I was like, man, I want to be like that one day, because they get the people going,
Yeah.
Also seeing people in leadership positions do the complete opposite. But, it's always been an interest to me. Then long story short, I went into college for organizational management and leadership. And it's just always been something that a subject matter that I really get excited about. And then I went to a Tony Robbins seminar. Many of you have probably heard of him, of course.
Yes.
And I don't subscribe, like I'm not a religious type. Oh my God, everything Tony says is amazing. But I do love him. I got a lot out of that. And I was like, well, if all these other people can get rich and have their own thing and go into work happy every day doing what they love, why can't I? And then that's really where that stemmed from. And I found the niche. I'm like, I am obsessed with work cultures. I know when a work culture is good and positive, like you get such higher productivity out of people. So why aren't more people doing this? And so I made a career out of it.
Nice. Now to follow that up, how is the COVID-19, the infamous COVID-19 affecting your consulting work right now?
Unfortunately, the negative side is I lost a client and, good vibes their way. They're dealing with, trying to stay afloat themselves at this point. And I completely understood it. I'm there for them. I told them, I'd be there for them. No money or, don't worry about that,
Right.
But if there's anything you need, I'll be there for you. But, that sucked because honestly, frankly, that was money out of my pocket. But all this free time I've had has really helped me be able to make really good content for, trying to make really good content for LinkedIn and, really focused on my services. And so all the free time has kind of helped me, utilize that.
Kind of narrow down your craft and hone in on your craft. No, I get it. I'm back to work, finally reopening. I'm in Texas, so it's, getting the baby steps, but still being able to go out to a construction site, making sure everything is in order. You see, the brighter side of things, to all of this. And I had a lot of thinking to do while I was out. And trying to produce all this content for you guys, it definitely helps. I liked your post earlier about the stop bullshitting the company / customer. How did that idea and where did that talk stem from?
Well, I've always been told I have a lot of candor, and I feel like that kind of helps me with my content because it's, kind of captivates people like, oh, what kind of shit is she talking today?
Yeah.
But I still talk about serious stuff that a lot of people don't like to talk about. And I've seen it so many times in the military and the civilian side that there's, these all levels of a company where people just don't want to tell the truth about what's really going on. And it just hurts every single time. It's like, insanity, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. Every time it ends up bad, stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it was good. And when I seen that popped up on my LinkedIn feed, and I was like, because I stay on LinkedIn, I seen it and I was like, man, and then my internet connection was bad and they didn't want to play. I'm like, damn it, I want to see this. I want to see what she has to say. So it was definitely good. And it truly is. Tell the truth right off the bat. Even if it's something bad, tell the truth. That way you can work together with whatever leadership you have, whatever team that you have in your culture, and you can figure it out and fix it, not fix it and then have to, try to cover up all the lies that you've been telling up to the mishap.
Right, exactly.
So I was reading some of your articles, a lot of them just give me motivation in the sense being a safety professional, somebody that's out on the front line with the guys and looked at as a leader. Your articles are really, really, I'm drawn to them, especially the ones. So let's talk about how you came up with the idea for the fake alphas in the workplace. That article is really good, and it's true, but I'll let you explain it.
Okay. Well, that was aircraft maintenance, like I was saying, and it was a male-dominated career field, and I did a lot of sitting back and assessing people. That's just who I am anyway. And I would always see the people that were fake alphas, people who would literally claim to be the alpha and whatnot. They were the same ones who were not. They never were. They weren't the leaders. They weren't the people the go-tos. They were just the guys usually carrying around a gallon of water in pre-workout, things like that. And it's like, you are not an alpha, my guy. I'm sorry. But from a business sense, a lot of these, there's people that you work with that just tend to be very domineering and pushy, and they feel like if they are abrasive enough, you're just going to listen. And that's not what leaders do. So those to me are fake alphas. Those are not leaders. And that's where I like to differentiate between the two, because, people like to say the word, oh, that person's a leader, and they're toxic. It's like, no, I pictures all the time on LinkedIn is that person is in a leadership position. He or she is not a leader.
That was the next article I was going to. How did, and it's true. Somebody that's in a leadership position isn't always a leader. And it really boils down to your training, your compassion, your integrity as a human being, and having that same mindset with the people that you're leading. So one of the other ones, the culture vulture. The culture vulture.
Which one?
The culture vulture.
Oh, the culture vulture. Yes. I'm sorry. My audio just kind of did some weird things.
It spiked a little bit. Yeah.
The culture vulture, I've seen people who, they're just toxic people in general, and they tend to find the negative and feed off of it, and it just infests all around them. And that's, where that came from. I just want people to see that. And those are the people that need to leave. You don't want those people. There's going to be times in a company where it goes up and down. That's inevitable. But the people who, make it worse by being a culture vulture, they need to go. You don't need that.
And you go into companies and help their work culture. Obviously, you're more focused on the exec team and the higher ups, because the leadership starts from the top down. But how do you interact with some of the frontline supervisors and the actual personnel? Do you ever get any interaction with those guys when you go to a client?
Yes, I try to, make that one of my options because, it absolutely is from the top down. There's no point in even having a conversation if I don't have the top signed off on it. It would be, a moot point. So once I get the top signed off on things and I make them realize, now, you need to work on your frontline management. Like this has to roll downhill in the best way. And so I do provide leadership training. Because so many companies I've noticed on the civilian side actually do not have any training for, first-time supervisors or managers. And I'm just like, this is not good. You know, so in the military, we all have, I had Airman Leadership School, the Navy has their thing. Mm-hmm. We all have that initial training, like how to treat employees, how to deal with employees and such. That the civilians absolutely need that as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so when you go to them and you say you have actual leadership training, what do you start off with? I'm not trying to give all your secrets, your trade secrets, for your consulting company, but just give us a little snippet of, how you would start off, say in a construction field or a manufacturing where it's, a bunch of roughnecks and blue collar, I've always done it this way. How do you kick that off?
I like to go straight into teaching about emotional intelligence. I'm a huge advocate for it. Okay. And I try to teach them the basics of what that is, because when they're dealing with their own coworkers, their managers, they have to, understand how they're speaking to people. Mm-hmm. It's always like how you're speaking to people, and understanding when people are acting a certain way. Maybe it's because of something else that has nothing to do with you. And it takes emotional intelligence to deal with things like that. And of course, there's like 1,000 levels to that. But I definitely start off with emotional intelligence because blue collar or engineers or scientists, their soft skills are maybe not as good as others sometimes.
Yeah, no. And the over analytics and overthinking and trying to, get down to, like you said, like a scientist would get down to the science of why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. It just could be you're just having a crappy day and, you spent a lot of time in traffic and then you come to work and then your supervisor's over your shoulder and it just makes your day bad. So, right. Coming from I've lived both sides. I came from the blue collar, from the military. I've been a corporate safety director as well. So it you see the best of both worlds. And like you said, a lot of companies, the executive team needs to be in that all buy-in of the work culture. I would, being a corporate safety director, I would go into my exec team and being like, hey, we need to do this because it's going to boost morale. It's going to get everybody working. They're going to be more productive. Yeah, they were like, no, cost too much money. I'm like, really? Right.
It's like, it's like preventative maintenance, like yes. As we know, blue collar workers, that's what you're doing. You're saving money in the long run by investing in your people in the beginning. And that number is minute.
Yeah. It's very, very, very small when it comes to something like that. And so right now in the current time, COVID-19, you're quarantined. What have you been doing to get ready for when businesses do start opening up and you can go, hit the ground running and start, reaching out and getting more business to your business?
I've been taking this time to find mentors because unfortunately, consulting is very cutthroat. Many people think that you're just trying to steal their IP. And I've been just trying to, find a mentor because I'm starting this rather recently. So, in the military, we always had, mentors that we, could look up to. So I've been trying to use this time to get some mentoring in so that I make the right moves going forward. I've been winging it and doing my best I can thus far, but I know that, there's always other people to learn from and you should.
Yeah.
So preparing. So a lot of networking pretty much is what I've been doing with my time.
Nice. Nice. So what have you done to ease your mind off of work? Okay. So you spend all your, a lot of hours, focusing on your craft and, getting the mentorship and trying to hone in for when you do hit the ground running. But how do you take your mind off of work? What do you do outside of that?
Thankfully, I live in the desert and I've been doing a lot like mountain biking or being with my horse or my animals in nature. I like to ground myself. I'm a hippie in that way, just being in nature and to just decompress and, like you said, not think about it. I think we all, especially like you said, during this time, need to just not think about the stresses that we have because, serenity, there's some things you just have no control over. So you might as well just go live your life a little bit.
Yep. Oh, so you have horses. One horse, two horses? Just one? What kind of horse?
I have an American paint horse. She's beautiful. She's my baby.
Wow.
But yeah, we like to go out ride in the desert, so it's fun.
Nice. And that's great. You use that in nature to decompress. Me, I'm a gamer. I get on my Xbox and I play, or I'll get on the computer and I started learning how to code and how to use, Illustrator. So
awesome.
It's just decompressing, taking all the stresses out of COVID-19 and everything that's been said. Now, granted, I'm back to work, which is good. Those are more added stresses, but they're good stresses because now I can breathe a little bit and we can, yeah. So, and I'm hoping that the rest of the country starts to open up slowly but surely. Some of the hot spots, California, New York are still, kind of wanting the summer months to come, July. And, people go a little crazy being quarantined. What do you do for mental health? Do you have anything? Let me step back. In regards to the leadership, do you talk about any kind of mental health in regards to your leadership training?
I do. I'm so happy you brought that up because I feel that's a huge part of a good work culture. Like people hate the word, work-life balance, but whatever term people want to use, that's important because people have to prevent burnout. So, managers need to encourage, good mental health for their people because, that it affects everything. When your people are all down in the dumps, the morale is terrible, this affects, and that's why I did this job. I want people to come to work and be happy. You don't even have to be like happy, but just not miserable, not hating the fact that you have to go into work every day,
Yeah. Yeah, I actually enjoy coming into work. And again, it starts, I say it because I lived it. It starts from the top down. Once, the workers that are making you the money as a CEO, you should be on the front lines in a sense with them, asking them how they're doing, knowing everybody by first name and encouraging them and showing you care. Just like on the safety side, I go out to construction sites and that's the first thing I do for the first week I'm there. I'm obviously making sure everybody stays safe, but I'm building those relationships. I'm finding each and every person, knowing them by name and being able to, tell them, hey, you know what? If you have a problem, come talk to me.
That's awesome. More people need to be like you because there's too many, unfortunately, that are not.
Yes, no. And I had a couple of mentors when coming up through the ranks, and I've been in safety for 10 years. But it was not how it is and how it should be now. Back then, it was like, okay, I'm telling you to do this, do it how I tell you to do it, and get it done. Now it's, and I've learned over the years, and just recently, the past, 2 or 3 years, compassion goes a long way. Being compassionate helps the work culture, helps on the safety side. You figure out what they're going through. You figure out what is actually being, wrong in their heads, what's wrong. And if they tell you, great. If they don't, but they know that they have a friend to come talk to.
Absolutely.
So how
empathy is important.
It is. And, I was going to ask the next question. How have you evolved as a leadership consultant from time of conception to thinking about doing it to now?
Rejection. Rejection has been a humbling experience. in a sense of leadership, like I guess I haven't had that many L's in my career previously. So, trying to get clients on board, it's humbled me and made me realize that there's things I need to work on. And as from a leadership standpoint, I guess that's a good question. I'm trying to give you a better answer, but rejection has been a real it's helped me grow.
So rejection has helped you grow. Now, and that's great. Again, it does. And a lot of people, they get rejected a couple times and they're like, you know what? I'm quitting. That's it. I'm gonna give up. And you're not that way. You're using that as fuel to make you better. Again, hone in on your craft and learn from it to make you a better consultant, to give more value to the customers that you're dealing with. And I think that's awesome. So what was one of your hardest challenges that you faced as a consultant?
The first step is self-awareness and trying to get a potential client to understand. Because I can go on Glassdoor, do a bunch of research on a company, not just Glassdoor, but other research, but that, for example. And, the company has a 1.2 star and there's 50 reviews that are just proving the point as to there's issues there. And so trying to convey to them without offending them have to finesse that gently. So that's been a challenge because you don't want to offend them and you want them to understand that what I'm trying to provide is going to behoove them. I'm not just trying to take their money and run. I want what I'm giving you to actually work. I don't even actually want to take on a client who's not going to listen to me. I don't want that. I genuinely want to help. So if you're going to pay me, let's all let it behoove you as well as my pocket. That helps too,
Right. Yeah.
It's been a challenge to get them to understand that they have a problem in the first place. It's like they know they do, but they don't want to admit, like you said, it comes from the top down. And then so there's a lot of trying to make it their idea. You have to make it their idea.
Right.
And that's
right.
challenging.
Got to plant that seed. Okay, so I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm the CEO of a Fortune 500 company, but my work culture is crap. I need your help. Come help me. Here's a whole bunch of money. I'm not going to be involved, but I need you to fix my work culture. What do you say to that?
We can do that, but I just need to make sure that you and your executive team are going to support me along the way. I have to have your support, or else this is going to be wasted money for you. If you want this to work, so I would just be driving the point home that he or she has to care and has to support me along the way, or it will not work. Will not. It's like trying to do a recipe without, baking soda. It's going to be crap. You can't. It's a vital ingredient.
Yeah. And my follow-up question, answer to that. Okay, well, that's what I'm paying you for. So fix my work culture, and if I'm involved, that's great. If not, then you're going to fix it for me. What's your response?
I can give you options in the proposal that, leadership training. I can give you the tools that you need, and I can give you all that, and we can do that. But at the end of the day, it's up to management's responsibility to implement this to ensure that it works. You can put me on a retainer, and I continue to coach your management along the way. So that's an option.
Hint, hint, wink, wink. Those of you listening out there, CEOs that are listening out there, wink, wink. You can put her on retainer. No, and it's great to, kind of be that devil's advocate. And that's what we don't want to see out there. We don't need that in our industries. You coming from a consulting standpoint about work culture, me coming from a safety standpoint, that's about work culture. We don't need CEOs and management that are not going to be involved, that don't care. And they're just like, I didn't get rich caring. I got rich because, it got handed to me, or, I made other people do stuff and I didn't really care and my pockets were getting fat. That's not what we want. We need people and new CEOs and people that, of supervision, of executive level supervision to care.
Absolutely. And that's why I love Richard Branson so much. He's a huge idol of mine because I actually have friends in the aviation community that for him to the point that they would be working and all of a sudden they would look up and Richard Branson's just like this, literally just looking at him. And then he'll just be like, hi, how you doing? He literally goes and talks to his people. This guy we all know how rich he is. Mm-hmm. And he walks a walk. He understands how important his culture is. Like he's like Zapp, Zappos is just known for that as well.
Yep.
They an amazing culture. And it's because the top cares. And he realizes, all those amazing quotes that he has, it's, you have to care about your people and then they'll care about your customers, but people first.
Right.
And it's so true. The proof is in the pudding there, and he will continue to always be successful and always be rich. These people that, like you said, they think they're rich, they got rich and they didn't have to care about people. You won't stay rich doing that.
No.
Or I don't know how you're going to look yourself in the mirror or answer to yourself at night, but, you need to care about people.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Any CEO, any executive, you are in the people business. That's what you do. You have people that are below you that look up to you for guidance, for support, for a boost in morale when it's needed. And you have to care. If you don't care, guess what? They're going to go find somewhere else where they are, cared for and, they're showing compassion and probably you get more money over at the other company. And
exactly.
Then what happens when everybody leaves? You go broke.
Yeah. And like with your construction, guys like to actually feel safe and they'd much rather go home to their families at night because they know that they have a company and management that cares about their health and safety.
Yeah, definitely. So what future plans does the work culture consultant have here in the near future? Any big plans, any big trips, any areas of the country that you want to get some business?
Well, I'm in Vegas and maybe I'm biased, but I feel like we got hit with the COVID situation, not from a sick-wise hardest, but we got affected and hit the hardest in terms of business. Because we are the entertainment industry. You guys come to party here. And the strip, people think it's just a strip, but, thousands and thousands and thousands of people work at these casinos, these clubs, these everything. And that is most of our community. This is millions of people.
Right.
And we're hit hard. And I feel like, there's going to be a silver lining in all this COVID situation. And people are going to realize how important it is, hopefully, to, have a good culture because a lot of people had to get laid off when maybe they didn't have to. And now companies are going to have to, come back from that. People are not going to feel like companies are loyal. And so it's not like I'm trying to poach and use this to my advantage, but there's going to be opportunities that maybe present themselves now because people are going to realize like, wow, I have to worry about my retention. So maybe they'll reach out.
Yeah, and we'll definitely blast this episode as much as we can 2 or 3 times so you get some business. But with that, and funny story, that then you said that you live in Vegas. I would actually, me and my wife and my 4 girls, we ended up taking a trip. It was the middle of March when everything started to kind of shut down. We were like, you know what? We're going to be in the car. It's just going to be us. We're going to take a cross-country trip. So we were going to go to Vegas, and we got to Flagstaff, Arizona the night before we were going to check into Trump Towers. So I called Trump Towers just to make sure our reservation was still there. Everything was good. They're like, nope. The governor closed all the hotels in the strip. Everybody is leaving and the city's going to be closed. I was like, what the hell? Really?
Right.
Mind you, I was living in Atlanta at the time. So it was all the way across country that we were traveling. Right. And it hit hard. And I was like, oh man. So then we stopped, we got up and started traveling back home.
Oh,
never made it to Vegas. We never made it to Vegas. So I look forward to getting out there and meeting the wife. And maybe we can, you and your husband can come out with us and have a dinner, have a couple drinks. And
Sounds good to me.
Okay. So what's your drink of choice?
Oh, Patron for me. I'm a bit bougie with my tequila taste.
What? Patron. I can't do Patron. Patron definitely had a bad experience when I was in the military, and I can't do it anymore. It's a no-go. I'm on a grown man's drink. Give me, a highball glass, 2 ice cubes, and some Johnny Walker Double Black.
Noted.
Oh, yeah. Good. So what advice would you give a younger you?
Patience, my dear. It's not a virtue of mine. I started this venture in October. I actually still am a full-time contractor for the DOE on top of it. But that financially fuels me for the other thing, and eventually I can do my thing full-time. And I just feel like, why isn't this going faster? How do I not have more clients? And then I had this epiphany. I have such a hard sell. The service I am trying to provide is a very hard sell. So I just need to be patient, work on learning more about sales. And so patience would be, I tell myself.
There you go. No, and that's good. And I know you have a podcast, right? And I've heard a couple episodes. What is that like? What are you looking for on your podcast? I know you're looking for, the CEOs to come talk about their work culture. So what is that like, podcasting?
It's been great. I only have a few episodes out right now because I was more personally, but I wanted to be more quality than quantity. And of course, I have 3 lined up episodes right now, but COVID has kind of killed that for me a little bit. So I'm just kind of waiting because I usually do them in person, so I can. I wanted to start doing video of them as well to be able to post on LinkedIn. But I make sure to choose CEOs that genuinely already have an amazing work culture, because they again walk the walk, talk the talk, and I can't interview someone who has a garbage work culture that would go against my values. It wouldn't work out. But the reason I did the podcast is so that people could hear it from the horse's mouth. Yes, values matter, a vision matters. My company as a CEO has been successful because I do care about my people. And so I just love interviewing people who are on the same page as me that have proof, the proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, I'm not a CEO, but I'd definitely love to be on your show and talk about some safety work culture if you would have me.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
I need to expand. That's also another thing I've learned. I need to kind of maybe expand it a little bit. So yes.
No, and again, that's your your niche down into what you do, and it's great, and that's that's where you start, and keep it coming. Quality, like you said, quality over quantity. I'm not pumping out a whole bunch of episodes of nothingness. I actually like to get people on the show that that have a purpose, have a vision that I follow, and have that, in a sense, not the same mentality, but like-mindedness in what we do. And that's how it is. Mostly everybody's been a safety professional. I had Mayan Gordon on my podcast early on, and she's a TikTok influencer, social media influencer, but the niche that I found with her was the glass blowing business. So there was some safety aspects in that, and then the rest of the talk was just TikTok, So it's really good. And again, kudos to having that. What is the hardest part for you and your podcast? Is it the recording? Is it the post editing? What is it?
It's finding the people that I would love to get some Richard Branson in my life. I would just die happy if I could interview him. So that's why maybe talking about expanding, maybe not just doing CEOs, but yeah. So just trying to find quality CEOs has been, I wouldn't say hard, but it's just I have to try a lot harder to make sure who I'm interviewing is legitimate, so that it doesn't look bad on me.
Right. Hey, that's good. That's good. And I'll reach out to Mr. Branson and shoot him over your way and be like, "Oh, my boy Blue,
Thank you.
So, no, definitely. And, usually, and I'm giving out the little secret, but it's not really a secret. If you go find somebody on LinkedIn, say you want to, interview them, what I usually do, I follow their content. I connect with them. I shoot them a text, say, hey, thanks for the connection. And it's not, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? It's, connect with them, like their stuff, see what they're about, and then reach out and say, hey, I think you'd be good on the podcast. And it's worked out. Some people haven't responded. Some people say, no, I don't have time or the bandwidth to do it right now, but, maybe in the near future. And then, by the graces of God is good. People started reaching out to me saying, hey, I would love to be on your show.
That's awesome.
So I'm like, yes. And, so it's, the snowball effect. It starts off small and then, it's just going to grow there, from there. And I don't think I'm going to stop. I like doing what I do. People say that, oh, you're a good host. You got a good radio voice. And I'm like, no, that's just the post editing. And
you do. No, you do. you interview well.
I've learned from a couple of, mentors in the podcasting world. Watched a lot of YouTube videos. So definitely YouTube has been my friend.
Noted.
On LinkedIn, when you're on LinkedIn, what are you, scrolling for? What are you looking for in your feed?
I've been loving some videos lately. Those are like, I've learned, fun fact, that, people's attention span is starting to get as close to a goldfish. That's actually like science. And so captivating people quickly is good. So those videos, if they have a good caption, that's important. Yeah. But I guess content I'm looking for is leadership. I just love everything. I eat it up. Just eat it up. Like stories I hear. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to make the sound.
Yeah. Right.
Eat it up. No, and that's good. Me, I have a whole bunch, all kinds of different walks of life that pop up on the feed, from podcasting to safety to leadership to, even some of the workers, and what they're posting, what they're actually doing. So it's good to get a little bit of everything. And then, again, like people say, you might see a crazy comment on something, or, you don't like it. It's easy. Scroll up. Keep scrolling up. Just skip it. And it's crazy, the world that we're in, and, social media plays a big part in our lives now. Back when I was growing up, I didn't care. Saturday morning cartoons, and I was out in the street until the street lights came on. But now it's, phone, and do I look good for this picture, and how's the lighting, and, is this post going to get enough views or enough likes? And I'm still, I post stuff on LinkedIn sparingly, unless I'm promoting a podcast or I'm liking something. But again, it has to make sense. I'm not doing it for the views. I'm doing it for me.
Right. It's a balance for sure, because I've been using it as free marketing, for myself. But like from what I've seen, a lot of people, they're like, you don't have to post every day to still be effective. And that's what I think I'm more so going to start doing recently, because I've been trying to pump out stuff every day. What, not the same thing, but like different varieties of content, and it's exhausting. But yeah, hopefully the ROI will be worth it.
Yes.
But it is exhausting.
Yes. No, and I'm a big fan of Gary Vaynerchuk. He definitely, some of the stuff that he says, and, some of the things in his book, put out the content, just put it out. I got his slide deck that, shows how to make, X amount of pieces of content, in a day. And it's, doing that and then putting yourself on a schedule and figuring it out. And then you narrow down your content strategy on how it's supposed to be put out, what videos are going to go where, when, and so haven't got to the videos yet, still sticking with the podcast, and it's going okay.
It's going great.
So last question before, we let you go. I know it's nice, 4:30, 5 o'clock over there in Las Vegas. It's 7 o'clock here in Texas. What is your X factor?
X factor as in? I want to make sure you answer this right.
what makes you unique? What makes you you and stand out?
Yes. I feel, what differentiates me from other people in this field is my candor. I'm here to give you results. So I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And I feel I'm a little spicy, and I'm not just bland. I'm not just a normal business person that is super monotone. Like I want to bring life into what I do. And so you're going to get the full me with the quirks and all. And I feel, and that will help other people feel more personable. It's going to bring more people in because they can feel at ease with me and not so uptight. So I'm hoping that is my X factor.
Nice. Brittinay, again, thank you for taking the time out and, being available to be on the show. I know we had talked early on this year, January, I think it was, and we were trying to get something, and then, I guess our schedules didn't work out. You were, working a lot, and I was working a lot, and then COVID hit, and then, but granted, now, it gave us the opportunity to be able to have this talk, and such a great talk. And again, I just want to thank you for coming out, taking the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
No, not a problem. So let everybody know where they can reach you at. Where can they find you? Where can they hit you up at? If maybe they want to. Some CEOs are listening. I know a couple of CEOs that might be listening. Your CEO friends. She's going to give you your information. Reach out to her. She's good at what she does. Thank you.
You can find me at workcultureconsultant.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn, Brittinay Lenhart, and I'm the redhead that pops up.
Yeah. And it was weird when I, first seen your some coming across your content, and I was like, whoa, red hair. Okay. So I clicked on it, and then I seen, what you were doing and what you were about. And it was great. And, I've been following you ever since, liking all your content. So again, workcultureconsultant.com, Brittinay Lenhart on LinkedIn. Hit her up, send her over a direct message, get some business to her. If your culture's struggling, you need help reviving, bringing back that life once you guys start opening up again. Again, Brittinay, thank you for being on the show. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I know our listeners are going to like this. They're going to like to get to know you, the CEOs that are listening. I hope, this was given, a better view of work culture and, what we're about and what Brittinay has to offer and bring to the table. So again, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Listeners, y'all know what it is. Again, till next time, we'll see you later. Well, we're at the end of our show. We want to thank you for lending us your ears for just a little bit. We hope that you were able to get a bit of value out of this episode. We would love to hear from you. So go check us out on the website, thexfactorsafety.com. Send us an email to xfactorsafety@gmail.com. You can also give us a call or send us a text to that X Factor hotline at 434-381-0723. If you have any thoughts or ideas for the show or would like to be featured on the show, reach out and we'll make it happen. So before I go, ask yourself one question. What is your X Factor? Until next time.